and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. We are the Dudley Boys of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. We do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Oh! Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a bloody quiz, of course, on wrestle culture. As said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review last night's Dynamite. Sidge, what did you make of the show?
I thought it was good to very good. Not great, but we are doing what needs to be done. Venue, beautiful. Crowd, bang up for it. Certain matches, certain moments, really good. Dynasty still has the feel of an AEW B pay-per-view. But they can't all be A's. And I'm happy with the lineup. There's certain things that I'm happy with, intrigued by. In my guts and my soul, I'm still not. We are back. Or even, this is amazing. But I had a nice time with a lot of it. And my God, am I in love with Kenny Omega. And can I not wait to talk about the ways in which I love him.
Yeah, the is it Uncle Mo's family feedback where the advert just ends with "It's good, 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 good," because there's just nothing else to say about it. That's me watching Dynamite at the moment. Honestly, like it's good, 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 good. Like I'm still not.
I need to know what a post-Death Riders AEW looks like.
Yes, I think I'm still not totally convinced that the landscape has been completely cleaned up. From the mess that John Moxley has made. Yeah. But every single week it gets a little bit better. And it's not been bad all year. So you're seeing improvements upon improvements. It's what AEW should be doing. Like, stop screwing around. Been like 2 years, you're screwing around too much. It's a hard job, though. Harder than it looks to keep things just nice and on an even keel, but they're doing it.
Your kids play Minecraft at all?
One of mine takes a bit of a passing interest on it, but typically Fortnite and either more violent or colourful games take his fancy. But when I watch him playing Minecraft on the Switch, it's very chill. There is a thing where at night you can get killed by monsters.
Creepers or something.
You have to make sure your house is secure and that. So it's weird how it goes, yeah, like kind of out of nowhere. But then the day is here again and it's just...
It's a square B.
Get your axe and build some stuff and have a load of people that are like me.
So you're talking about Minecraft because if you missed Dynamite, it was sponsored by Minecraft. Did you see the introductory video? That was, I think AEW's video department doesn't get enough credit, and I would say that the video editors there are vastly underutilized because when they don't really do big video packages ahead of the pay-per-view or even on the pay-per-view. It's very match. So I really don't want to take the piss. And just that opening the editing was out of control with it. It was just, here's a completely rapid splice of Jack Black doing some mad stuff. And here's Kenny Omega. And it was like, there's no artistry to it. It was so odd.
I got a rare out-of-pocket Wilbourn pipe bam about this as we were walking. I think he was just tired. Walking back to the train home
before I knew any about any Dynamite connection,
from Glasgow. We're just walking through the streets and there's just a massive, just out of nowhere, enormous billboard for this film, this Minecraft movie. There's Jack Black and I was just like, what's that now? Is that just films now, is it? Any ideas for films? Minecraft? Right, yeah, it's a film then. Jack Black there and his head's not square. What's going on there?
I mean, Minecraft.
Just this Route 1 filmmaking that's going on. Like,
it's an enormous property.
Yeah.
Very brief thoughts on Minecraft since I've been asked before we begin this podcast. It made me feel so goddamn dumb, right? Everyone, what's that famous Einstein quote where you wouldn't expect or teach a fish to climb a tree?
Yeah.
Everyone has got something that they are great at or rubbish at, and it's just the way that the human mind works. I think I've made a good living ripping the piss out of Triple H. That's the kind of guy I am. Butter in my ass and a lollipop in my mouth and burying that big nose asshole. That's just the kind of guy I am. And I can write. I think I'm quite funny. Put sentences together. Be insightful. I'm so thick in other areas of my life, like directions, maths, science. I'm a humanities dude. With Minecraft, astonishes and saddens me that this is like a children's game, because I remember like kids were talking about it at school. James had a Switch. It was a birthday present or whatever. Gets Minecraft, and it's like he's still at that stage where he needs his hand. Years ago, he's fine now with video games, but at the time, he was still at that stage where you need to go, and this is what you need to do. You need to just teach him and set him off. Like, I taught him FIFA and all the rest of it. Taught him Mario. Minecraft, I'm like, well, I don't know what to do.
It's supposed to be a parent-child bonding game. They talk about it in those terms.
I've got no idea what to do. Yeah. Like, I didn't know how to mine. I didn't know how to pick up an inventory. I found it very unintuitive. So the fact that kids play it, it's like, well, I'm an idiot. So I resent Minecraft. I don't get the appeal of it. It makes me feel stupid. I can't do it. I hate Minecraft, so this soured me a little bit. But it's all right because Kenny came out.
I was going to say, immediately was recovered because the opening match was international champion Kenny Omega versus Blake Christian. Vanilla Baby himself.
Love him.
He was flanked by Lee Johnson, who tried to help at some point, but mainly just got chinned by Kenny Omega, who obviously dominated early on until Christian used his agility and high-flying ability
and his dick cheese
to get out and then flip Kenny Omega off.
He did.
Yeah. He also hit Omega with a drop kick, mocked his pose, gouged his eyes, and hit a spear off the apron. He also hit a tope on the outside, the head back inside, tries a handspring elbow, just gets nailed by a bump knee by Kenny Omega, who's like, right, stop messing about now. Knocks Lee Johnson off the apron, multiple snapdragons, a leg trap neck breaker on the knee, V-trigger, one winged angel, 1, 2, 3.
More matches like this, please. More matches like this. A sprint cum squash, if you like, where a wrestler who's amazing doesn't
move. Invented this sounds a bit like that.
I forgot to bring my glass of cum squash up here, actually.
A sprint cum squash.
A kind of sprint cum.
Between a sprint and a squash, where a wrestler that you are meant to receive as a star makes very handy work of someone you are meant to receive as either an up-and-comer or just a guy.
Or a bellend.
Yeah, or a bellend. Not a needless 12 to 15-minute back and forth, the likes of which are so difficult to get over and to make stand out because it's been the Dynamite go-to model for so many years at this point. This was so refreshing, so much fun, and the story was so simple. You've got this little bastard, this little douchebag chancer, who's such a horrible guy. You can tell from his body language and how he thinks he's just incredible. 1999 DX, like X-Pac. But that's the point. Like this little sleazy brat douchebag, right? Plays it so well, coming out, doing all this stuff. Such a vile dude that he rubs his dick cheese over his hand, licks it, and then tries to use said hand to like gouge Kenny Omega's eyes.
Probably calls it cum squash.
Yeah, if anything.
Anything?
And then, let us know in the comments. Is that anything? And then Kenny Omega, just the veteran who's cleverer, decides this little idiot he's just going to tire himself out by doing an extraneous flip, at which point I'm going to fucking crack him in the back of the skull with my knee. And then this little other bastard's going to try and get in. I'll make short work of him. These are losers. I'm Kenny Omega. Run through my arsenal, beat him in the end. Get to the post-match, which I loved as well. But what I loved about this match, other than just that simple story of star beats dickhead very handily, more of that, please.
Yeah.
It was so refreshing how brisk it was. The brevity of this was just lovely. Kenny Omega's V-trigger. Not only did they build the idea of, I want to see this guy get his face caved in because he's a little arsehole, had that acceleration behind it, had that drive behind it, had that souse, had that impact. But in that opening exchange before Blake Christian was, well, I'm getting out wrestled, might as well just try and do underhanded tactics here. Like the headlock takeovers, like it just, Kenny Omega looked springy here. He looked way more like himself. And yes, it's a shorter match, but this match being this sort of like Kenny Omega's performance, he was a bit more lively, moving about a lot better than he did, I think, in Grand Slam Australia, like popping his hips, like very slick work. It just made me realize that match against Takeshita was even better than I thought it was at the time, because at certain points at that match, like the springboard power bomb, which he'd done after taking that gutbuster through the upturned table. I thought it takes him everything these days to do that one move. You see this match, and it's like, it doesn't. He's just convincing you of that because he's Kenny, by God, Omega. This is so much fun. I want to see more matches like this on television all the goddamn time.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. One of my favourite genres of TV match, this. Babyface champion getting it done. I grew up watching Superstars. You know, this is how a gazillion wrestlers got over. Not even even the bad ones got over with this formula, let alone when you put one of the best ever in there. Like, he used to campaign for it when Hangman Page was champion. What I wouldn't have given for a few more of them. I know he was like knocking out these kind of instant classics with whoever he was facing in the big ones, but it's great when they just come out when a babyface champion comes out and kicks Weird of AS. Like, it's so good. Like, such an economical use of your TV time.
Yeah.
Yes, you can stick a promo on at the end if you even need to, but like this, and Omega knows this better than most, really. Like, this is your shop window, and that's so often forgotten when you kind of get lost in the sludge of like TV churn. It's always a sales pitch when you're out there, always, and there aren't many better.
Churn doesn't always get it done.
That's what they've always said.
Yeah,
just an industry parable. And Omega will know more than most, like the when and where of all of this. But just getting to see him, maybe that's what it is. Maybe there is a magic to finally seeing like TV wrestler Kenny Omega, the big complaint all the years, and it's like, which boxes can he fit into that actually make the most sense?
All of them now, I think.
This was so nice to see. So refreshing to see him do this. Loved it.
Post-match, he cuts a promo saying it's unfortunate he can't wrestle every week like he'd like to, but he promised he was going to make it quick tonight. So Tony, we gave Tony no choice but to sign on the dotted line and let him wrestle. He knows there's going to be a bigger, longer battle at Dynasty when he faces Ricochet and Speedball Mike Bailey, and this brings out Mike Bailey. And never has there been two guys better in ring, but also bigger geeks looking at each other going,
That's affectionate. That's affectionate.
Yeah. Kenny Omega, Speedball. Congratulations. Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, he says Omega's inspiration. He admires him as a person and a champion, but come Dynasty, he's not going to hold back or hesitate to kick his head clean off and take the international title. Kenny goes to respond, but then Ricochet appears on the Tron. He would love to have been there, but it's his wedding day, and he's dressed for the best day of his life. That is until April 6th, when he continues to show everyone why he's out of this world, and he's going to defeat a former greatest wrestler and cornball, as he called Mike Bailey. And on April 6th, he said he's going to leave with both the girl and the gold.
My voice is a little bit broken.
We're all a bit broken, aren't we?
We're all a bit broken. I love how, of all people, Ricochet is saying that.
Yeah.
I thought this was very amusing stuff all across the board, and I am in love with this version of Kenny Omega so much. He feels all. I tweeted this. Hopefully, the mega fans will forgive me. I tweeted this. I'm going to elaborate. He feels whole and authentically himself in AEW. Everything I like about Kenny Omega and more is being presented in front of me right now. I understand, right? The exchange with Speedball first was so great. So they are kind of endearingly dorky. Both of them kind of wear that outwardly and unashamedly, okay? So they decide to talk at one another like it's an 80s movie. Like karate, martial arts, buddy cop, action, all of it in this like composite 80s style dialogue. Kenny Omega, Speedball, congratulations. Thanks. I love how Kenny Omega was instantly like, why are we talking like this? Yeah. Like, that's weird. That irreverent Kenny Omega humor, right? I understand. Once upon a time, maybe not so much anymore. I think people have just really, even his detractors have started to realize through absence, God, he was great, and we probably should have been nicer to him at the time. And now I think he's one of the more, obviously you're going to get tribalism everywhere, but even in like the different suburbs of pro wrestling, not so much WWE fandom, Omega was divisive. I think a lot of people have really like warmed to him who didn't necessarily like him over the years. And one of the reasons why he did have detractors within those ball knower circles is, he's too like aloof. His comedy's a bit dorky, blah, blah, blah. I think in a weird way, Kenny Omega has earned having those sort of like comedic interludes to his work, because if you think about it, right, he's come through hell. He's this like weathered guy And now he's like warmer. He embraces this bond with the crowd. Like he is kind of happy to be here when his career and almost his life was thought lost. And when you've had those life experiences, you gotta laugh. Am I making any sense? It's like it's almost okay for Omega to go, well, it's okay for him at this point to go, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
I almost died. My career was almost over. And, you see a lot of people who've had, like, really bad things happen to them. Like, they have to have a sense of humor. So it's almost as if he's kind of earned that aloof sense of humor. And his timing here, by the way, was absolutely incredible. Thanks. Like, why are we talking like this? I just found that really, really amusing. So this version of Kenny Omega has his own sense of humor, and it's sort of really endearing now, and it doesn't feel like the thing you resent him for wanting to do instead of these huge big matches and the serious New Japan presentation, even though he himself will tell you, look at what I did on undercards, god damn it. It really wasn't like that all of the time.
Yeah.
And it's his own idiosyncratic brand of humor, which is no longer unwelcome. He is international champion, which is way more than being TNT or continental champion, because there's a lineage of this championship really means something to a lot of people. And he's a pushed star, not as high as I would push him, but whatever. Pushed star, singles champion, best bout machine, who's retained and earned his sense of humor, and now he's got that criticism, that long-standing criticism of Kenny Omega of he's a bit aloof, not the best promo, sometimes a little bit stiff in there. It doesn't exist. Like, the fans love him, he loves them back. He's your babyface star, he's your hero. You admire him like Bayley for persevering through these horrendous times, and now he's back and you're grateful for him. I'm in love with Kenny Omega. All the pieces have now come together at long last, because I understood the criticisms of AEW Kenny Omega. Loved him in 2021, but even I will admit, probably better in New Japan all told. This is the start of something, a late career bit of beauty for Kenny Omega, who feels whole in AEW at long last, I would say.
Yeah,
outside of 2021.
Completely agree with that. Completely agree. And, like, to that point as well, what you're actually allowing is, like, now that the aloofness sings rather than just pisses people off, you actually can sort of permit the character, if and when he wants to go deeper into his emotions or into anger or whatever, it's new again, because he's been living that, like, I can't get that angry about anything until the thing makes him angry.
Yeah.
It becomes its own story beat, which is great. I just want to add, like, nothing else to add and make it really well put, because I get that same feeling as well. Like, restoring the feeling, ironically enough, of Kenny Omega, it does feel whole in a really pleasing way. I just love, like, this was proper AEW, this, because what AEW did at its peaks was it found ways to keep, like, hold of wrestling's traditions, but modernize them. And what this segment, if you look at these three, they're all in a triple threat, right? A very modern, complex sort of idea that we're finding with WWE is very complex to book and make entertaining, ultimately. What they did here was had the two baby faces illustrate a babyface trait, which was to be dorks, but be earnest and knowing dorks and just enjoy being dorks in their lives, comfort with themselves, And then you put a guy on the screen who is a heel because he's the biggest dork of them all and doesn't think he's a dork. Hey, you losers, I'm busy having sex at my wedding. Who's with me? The biggest loser of the lot. And that's a heel trait because he doesn't know he's a dork. He certainly thinks he's a dork. He's calling them dorks. Like, that contrast is as old school. I don't care what the ball now is like. You could put a 50s graphic on screen, bad guy, good guy, fight. That was what this was through a 2025 contemporary prism. AEW used to be, like, almost scarily brilliant at that because it's like finger on the pulse stuff. You got to know what it is first and then, like, staple onto what wrestling's done a gazillion times every single week. And I just thought this was a really nice illustration of that.
Thanks.
Kenny finishes up.
Stay with me forever, that.
Yeah. Like, Kenny congratulated Ricochet on his nuptials.
Yeah.
What sort of just a sweet thing to do. Yeah. Knee him in the face in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he says, congratulations, Order, but not a Dynasty, obviously. And as good as a guy as Speedball Mike Bailey, as big a piece of trash that Ricochet is, doesn't matter. He's gonna leave with the title. It's all part of his legacy, basically.
This match is going to be really funny.
I love this match already.
It's going to be really funny and, like, exhilarating beyond comprehension.
The stuff to do before they go up the gears is going to be a blast.
They're
going to kick each other's ass.
Yeah.
Speaking of matches at Dynasty, we see footage of Bandido regaining his brother Gravity's mask from Collision. And that young kid who flipped Chris Jericho off. And we go backstage to the Luring Tree. And Jericho says it's time for all masks to be removed. He shoots on Big Bill and Brian Keith for being under the branch of the Learning Tree so long without using the Wisdo bestowed upon them.
The Wisdo.
Questions whether it's
wisdom
still worth being
Actually,
associated with him. Bill and Keith walk off as Jericho congratulates Bandido on getting Gravity's mask back. But he doesn't want Gravity's mask. He wants Bandido's. And he challenged him to a title versus mask match at Dynasty. Is it worth the sacrifice to make Bandido's mother cry again? He thinks it is. See you at Dynasty.
He can't. He's not doing it, is he?
Bandido's in the belt back, isn't he?
I know, but like, no, I'm talking like on a in broader terms. Chris Jericho's not flirting with the idea of not being useless anymore, is he? Because if you like,
It's a contract year, Sidge.
This Collision Bandido match, people really loved. The finish was unbelievable. I thought it was a bit clunky, and I can't get past that with Jericho. And the reason why is other people can be clunky if I'm really on board with the character and what they're doing. Because I'm not with Jericho, I will, it's the hypocrisy that is, everyone has it, okay? I didn't like that match as much as a lot of people did, but I can understand why a lot of people loved it. In the meantime, Jericho has had that quasi-viral interaction with that young fan, which he pitched perfectly, realistically, and it got him numbers, it got him engagement, it got people thinking, hey, Jericho knows what he's doing after all. Some of these angles involving Bandido and Gravity and the family aren't bad. This idea that he's playing a hi guys caricature, I think that Observer Award did something to him. Yeah. He's realized, pivot, I need to do a change. Basically, if 2 months ago, Jericho's on the pay-per-view, I'd think, for Christ's sake, he hasn't earned it. Jericho on the pay-per-view, the idea of Bandido losing that mask and the near falls, and they've built a story that justifies title versus mask, and it being Dynasty, and not, all in, which you'll get on, obviously. He is very, and I mean very, very, by his standards, very quietly redeeming his fictional character. I would never say the other thing, of course, because it's Jericho, but it just feels like if it was Jericho 2 months ago doing this, I'm like, he's got a singles match at Dynasty. Now I'm thinking, well, fair enough, he's got a singles match at Dynasty.
Yeah, there's a bit of meritocracy stuff going on here, not least because of the work they put into the story. I'm a little bit, I'm still on that point with Jericho where I kind of just glaze over a bit. Like I don't want it. The feeling is not. It's like he's a Pete Dunne with Patter for me at the moment. You know what I mean? Like the jokes are starting to land again. The voice, the character's voice is starting to feel a bit more authentic, rather than just rooted in being a troll cheap heat sort of thing. Yeah. So I can see it. I'm not really feeling it, but I kind of, when you can see it, you kind of.
It's all begrudging.
Yeah, you kind of have to sort of wave it through, don't you? When you can see that it's a thing that is connecting or working, and I mean the stuff with the kid is evidence of that as well. So I know that's passionless analysis, but fine. I wouldn't know if it was up to me. It'd be on Supercard of Honor because I probably won't watch that show. Do you know? That's
I know exactly what you mean.
That's how I feel.
I know. But I'm just saying,
my truth. I watched Dynasty.
My detached, critical, analytical brain is saying, I mean, he probably has earned this one.
Yeah. Following that up was Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He comes out, immediately buries Prince, saying Michael Jackson's legacy is more important than that hack Prince. These words are far more important than all the losers and Trailer Park Trash, etc. But he says, MVP, I've been looking at this card for 2 weeks.
Prince or Michael Jackson for you?
Oh.
I mean, so I should just skip over this. Yeah.
He said, I've been looking at this card for 2 weeks MVP. Come on out, let's have a chat. And out he comes. People obviously love the Hurt Syndicate. And MJF says, look, if there's one thing we can all agree on, MVP, you're a legend in the sport of professional wrestling. Puts over his new cane, says it's gorgeous. But he says, look, Montel, after everything that happened with Adam Cole, I said I'd never do friends again. But when you clock in, you don't do friends either. You do business. And I've been looking at this card for an awfully long time. And I want to be in the business of hurting people. And looks like he's about to join the Hurt Syndicate. Hands are extended. But here comes Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. And it looks like Bobby Lashley's just going to be the person to sort of officially welcome MJF into the Hurt Syndicate. Offers his hand. MJF goes to shake it. And he's like, no, give me the card. Absolutely, yes, sir. And Bobby rips up the card. He rescinds the offer effectively to MJF for the Hurt Syndicate. And MVP's like, it's cool. And MJF takes his leave at that point as Bobby just stares through him. Let's pause there. We'll come to what happened with the Learning Tree lot in a second.
I'm happy to have a good night for the Hurt Syndicate because what the hell was that outrunner stuff? That might have proved not disastrous but harmful. Evidently, it did not, because when Bobby Lashley towers over MJF, gets in his face just so, doesn't do much with the body language, but he still just radiates intimidation. You do think, oh, this is not going well. Get out of there, Max, get out of there. And I think MJF did a great job of selling that subtly. I'm still like, yeah, let's do more of this next week. I'm tuning in.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're going. Like, MJF has got that, like, God-given gift. Sorry, that's too many G's. And we know, we have established that alliteration is the work of. But MJF has that. It's no wonder he's heading or he's circling Hollywood, because if you're an actor, you have chemistry with everyone. You can find a rapport with everyone. You can bounce off people. It's part of the job. And MJF, you could even consider him an actor in a wrestler's body, realistically, because I've said it a million times. His chemistry with Sammy Guevara. You could have a 80s territory heel run out of them like that. His chemistry with Jericho when they were doing the Friends or Enemies deal. Adam Cole. Like, what does his chemistry look like with MVP? We've kind of already seen it. What does his chemistry look like with Bobby Lashley? I'd love to see that. So I'm bang into this. And this is a good way of progressing it. If MJF's later in the MVP, later, twisting their arm. He's an arsehole, but that could be an asset to us.
It could be our arsehole.
So I'm really into what they look like together on screen. Into it.
This story is everything that too many WWE ones aren't for me right now. It's one of them ones where it appears like nothing's happening, but everything is. Every single week there is a development, and that's the word. It develops. Things move forward. You could argue at an absolute push the week that MJF took the week to say, I will give my decision next week, was like the quietest they've been with it in this like 3 to 4 weeks it's even existed, because you can trace it back to the end of the last pay-per-view, basically. It's a very fresh, clean pay-per-view cycle story. Like, every week you learn a little bit more and you get a little answer, but you ask new questions. Every week. It's unexpected. It's featuring top names, big stars, champions, consequences that will definitely follow as a result of actions that we may be seeing in front of us or ones that may be playing out in the background or underneath. So little is going on.
It's plotting.
And I love all of it. Yeah. And maybe that's it. Maybe like I'm starting to crave a bit more of that than I'm getting from my primary choice of wrestling show. And this plotting is like kind of captivating to me.
It's good plotting.
Yeah.
MJF's a great plotter.
Mm-hmm.
Great at building this stuff.
Get him in there. I want that group. I want those four lads together.
This is it, right? So I want the
Desperate.
group. I think everybody is starting to want the group, but if that's not the direction, you kind of want to see how that plays out as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's ideal for whatever they're cooking up here. That's ideal.
If MJF does not join the Hurt Syndicate, I might have a bit of fantasy booking for that ass. Imminently.
You double or nothing there, bitch.
Brian Keith and
I want to go the long road.
Big Bill interrupt, and Keith's there saying, "Don't worry, we're not here to join your group therapy session. We got real business to address." And MVP just says, "Bill, get your bitch on a leash."
Love how Brian Keith literally looked like he was 2 foot tall when he said that. Really funny. I like genuinely laughed at that.
If MVP was just
he looked like he was 2 foot tall.
MVP was cooking as well here, because Bill's like, I see the tag titles, but I don't see any challenges. MVP's like, no, neither do I.
What else you got?
Bill, I can't remember exactly what Bill said. Something like, you keep running your mouth, you'll be the MVP of being our bitch. And MVP was like, I think we've already established who the bitch is, man.
Yes, I've already said that. So what else you got?
Anyway, Bill says he was a former tag champ. He never got pinned, so he never lost the tag titles. And Sting ran off before he could get another shot. He wants his rematch and he wants to take the titles back. MVP says, basically, you and Keith go and beat someone, but then maybe we'll talk.
This was like, MVP was good here. If a report emerges today at some point, there was words between Big Bill and MVP after that almost awkward verbal spar. That makes sense. It was awkward as hell.
Yeah.
And MVP kind of ate him alive. He kind of ate him alive to the point where he gave, it's not Tiffany Charlotte level, but MVP ate him alive, came off as cooler, funnier, wittier. Big Bill, just as well that Big Bill and Brian Keith will be the heels in this match, and Hurt Syndicate are kind of in this quasi, we mean business, and we're not really baby faces, and we're not virtuous, but we're cool at what we do, and effective, and fans back winners, you know?
Yeah.
MVP ate him alive. Ate him alive here. But I don't know if that was the story, or whether he just enjoyed doing it.
I think
what was your read on that?
It was one of those situations, and we've had them before in AEW, and there's some hits and some misses, and then some situations that occur. As long as you manage it, you're all right. But this was initially in the brief of, well, these wrestlers over there are scripted within an inch of their life, and nobody gets over. We'll do the total opposite over here, and let's see how that goes. Often to levels that we never thought we'd see again on American television, often to company destroying. Like dissatisfaction between talent, so it really goes either way.
What are both ways?
So you know, I personally think there will be reports about words being had because Big Bill's going to get Chris Jericho to give MVP a piece of his mind back in the hotel.
We all know how that's going to
and
go.
We know how that's going to work out, right, guys? Scoop skis off C. Irving. No,
that's too obvious. Chris I.
Yes, thank you. Y2K. I agree. Everyone felt tense, but you know, just have a crack backstage, fix it, shake hands, agree to share it out next week, whatever. Like it was as soon as like Ricky Saints arrived, everybody was like, "This was Cup," and he was like, "You're welcome out, kid." Like, well, what happened there? Like, there's, you know, it when it goes bad, it goes real bad. But they can talk this.
It just felt like MVP went a second too early.
Yeah.
Didn't allow Big Bill anything and just rubbished his lines.
Yeah,
Just. I think we already established who the bitches, mate.
What else you got? What is there, a parrot here? What is there, an echo?
Renee's backstage with Timeless Tony Storm and Thunder Rosa. They're in the main event of the evening. We'll get to that in due course.
Well, of course.
Brings them teaming up 3 years ago. Storm says not much has changed since then. And it's like everything's changed, mate. Got Butler. You tried to knock me out. Someone's like, well, we all make mistakes in the heat of passion, don't we? Someone's like, enough of this gay banter. Megan Bain and Penelope Ford are going to be double teamed like you've never dreamed. And Rosa goes to do the team name and Storm shouts Thunder Tits.
He's absolutely corpsed at that.
So did Renee Paquette.
Yeah.
Real good stuff.
There's a sign all right in the crowd for the main event as well. Rosa's like, it's Thunderstorm. Tony's like, not anymore. Renee can't handle it.
We talked about this preview. I had a feeling this was going to be good.
Yeah.
I did. I thought there's something about these two. They were far gutsier than I thought they would be in the actual booking of the match. But yeah, like this right out of the gate. Tony Storm is on fire at the moment. On fire.
On fire.
Yeah.
The perfect time. Serendipity or trust or whatever, but the perfect time to say, right, okay, wrestle this massive prospect we have in Megan Bain because you've got the Stardust. Tony Dust.
We're just about 3 years in on Tony Storm signing. I remember she signed WrestleMania week 2022.
Yeah.
What a run. What a signing.
Was it?
Yeah. She
I thought it was
debuted.
late in the year.
Nah, she debuted on the Dynamite the week of WrestleMania 38.
Yes.
So it was like a big deal because she'd left
Texas.
early that year with the she got
green pie, if I remember right, didn't she?
Yeah. What a sign. What a signing she's been. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Carl Fletcher versus Brody King.
Just reporting the stories. That's what he does.
So he does. He's the OTJ.
Carl Fletcher on the attack early, and he ripped off his pants, and Don Gallup's like, "You're in the room with Brody King, dickhead, turn around." Got dropped, obviously. King killed him, sent him to the outside with a clothesline for as we go to a break. When we come back, Brody King's obviously still in control, but he eventually gets sent into the commentary table, and Fletcher takes back over. He gets dropped, though, with a big boss man slam for the double down. Fletcher gets sent to the outside. Big dive from King. He wants a crossbody against the barricade, but Fletcher leaps off the steps and posts King, hits a PK and a tope suicida of his very own. He wants a count out, but King gets back in at 8. Fletcher hits an elbow drop, gets a 2 count, wants a brainbuster, but King reversed into Exploder in the corner. King wanted a pile driver on the apron. Fletcher hit a thrust kick, but King hit a DVD on the edge of the ring to take us to another break. When we come back, eventually Carl Fletcher hits a stalling tombstone for a close 2 count.
Mm-hmm. How impressive did that look?
Ridiculous. Fletcher goes for a charge in the corner, but King hits him with a huge lariat. They both struggle to their feet. Callis takes the official. That allows Mark Davis to show up and save Fletcher from a cannonball. King fights back, but Davis is running distraction, and that allows Fletcher to gouge the eyes and hit a top rope brainbuster for the 1, 2, 3. Post-match, Callis shakes Davis's hand. Aussie open, but the boots to King. Powerhouse Hobbs comes out. We'll talk more about that in a second.
I'm mixed on this, I'm mixed on this. I feel bad because I was talking about Brody King, who I rate very, very highly and think has got a high ceiling. At this point, he's doing too many jobs.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe it's been the case for a while. But I remember the last time he spoke at length about Brody King was on our Revolution review. And I said that often Brody King's matches are great because he's a great wrestler with loads of gifts, great connection with the crowd. Some of his stuff looks horrific, and I mean that in an awesome way. And then the finish just kind of happens. And because he's so big and he looks like he could take take a total beating, when just kind of wins. I think his finishes are either iconic, like the Darby Allin one with the choke out, or quite anticlimactic, sudden, and not really believable. Contrary to that, the finish here, I thought they earned it big time, and it looked like Kyle Fletcher had a real hard night on the job just to put him away, and that tombstone was such a great feat between them, like the posting, staying there, the illusion of the lift itself, everything that went into that tombstone looked great. And that top rope brainbuster was like, it looked sick. What a spectacular visual. And the idea behind it was, it took a lot. Someone's finally slain that monster, Brody King, whereas previously it's us, someone just kind of beat him. So I appreciate the work that went into it. They were in there too long. I thought structurally quite repetitive at certain points. It's one of those where when there's a match that's building, you get lost in it, you get wrapped up in it. It's constantly going on this upwards curve of excitement. This was quite flat, I thought, for a lot of it. And when they went, and we're going to a second commercial break, my initial read was, really? Like, really? Not, oh, yes, we get more of this. I love it when a match that you're really excited for goes long. I really don't like it when a match I'm not that bothered about goes long. There's a key difference, and I felt that difference when they said another commercial. I was like, what? I will say, even though it kind of repeated itself throughout structurally, and I didn't think they needed to be in there that long, I thought they did a great job of actually protecting Brody King in defeat for once. Kyle Fletcher continues to look great. His bumping, like when he's getting sent to the outside of the ring, just committing himself to those bumps. He looked like he was getting thrown about like a piece of trash. His physical commitment, the way he just sort of took it, made Brody King look like a monster. I don't know how many minutes you have to shave off this for it to have been a proper standout Dynamite TV match, but it went too long.
Yeah, I thought this was boring, but number one, I thought it was going to be boring when we were previewing it, and number two, I didn't care that it was boring. Like, I'm going to unlock something Wilbourn hates. This is like meat and drink stuff. Yeah. For Kyle Fletcher there.
I like the phrase. I don't know what
it
is.
It's awful. It's awful, isn't it? I agree. Kyle Fletcher,
you say on FIFA, I'm like,
Kyle Fletcher, the recovering heel, needs a win in a match like this.
Yeah.
It's boring, but they have to do it. Like,
it's like you say, if he's re-established himself for the outing.
Yeah. Like, you got to do this. So I don't mind it. Like, I'd maybe watch something else given the choice, but like, you've got to do. You don't have to remember every single building block. Ultimately, you can't screw it up. You can't be crap. And this wasn't crap, and Kyle Fletcher wasn't crap. But the Brody King doing too many jobs thing keeps sticking out to me. Hounds of Hell ain't been nothing.
No,
ever.
Brody Matthews injured.
True.
They probably had to change course.
That's forgot about that.
They're all good points.
Julia Hart's kicking around again. Like, who knows, I guess, for the act. But it doesn't, when you've got a big guy that doesn't feel like a threat because they've kind of squeezed all the juice out of that, then you kind of, I found myself just watching Kyle Fletcher, and it's like yep, you could have wrapped it up early, but like, I thought about like a lot of the matches on this card, to be honest. Like, a lot of the matches are pretty boring, but I'm glad they're doing it. Like, do boring matches sometimes, get some stars over. Like, it is how you get wrestlers over, even if the action has to be boring.
And if any AEW listeners, are out there, or viewers, say, he's been miserable about the good action. He actively likes it when wrestlers win boring matches. They just have to do it frequently. This is his fed brain telling you.
You'll make a bunch of stars. Like, you'll get a bunch of people over, and then when you put the stars against the other stars, or the stars just have like this aura around them, everything's lifted with it, and then the boring matches get a little bit better as well. So it's an increments game sometimes.
So yeah, Aussie Open beat up Brody King afterwards. Powerhouse, Hobbs comes out, big brawl, and enough of all that, because I don't care about any of that, because all I care about is pressing this button. We haven't pressed in about a year, it feels like.
Hey, Dijak, take those stupid sunglasses off. We're inside.
Wagner watch.
Come Tuesday.
He's back. He's security in AEW apparently. What?
Is there more?
I've never had more tweets about something than this.
No.
My phone blew up.
Flooded notifications.
I'm not being funny. My phone blew up. I thought somebody had died. Could there have been
I am wearing black, but I was not at a funeral, Sidge.
Okay, Von. Okay. Right, okay. This
He's back.
Von Wagner, if you listen to our NXT coverage, if you don't, do. And if you've got no idea who Von Wagner is or what we're talking about or why we love him, a little Von Wagner primer. Von Wagner is an ex-football player drafted by WWE/NXT/the PC. They've always done this, even when Levesque was like, "Not get the PWG lads to make me look like I'm the cool person who knows stuff," right? They've always had this endless sort of, procession of. It's what I'm looking for when people go in and people go out.
The revolving door.
The revolving door, correct, of just big, massive athletes. Can we do something with them? Maybe. Like percentage-wise, probably not. All right, that one's not working now. Boom, out you go. We'll get some new ones in. Von Wagner was in that long line.
And he had a dad.
One of the Beverly brothers.
Yeah.
So basically,
so
he had these in with WWE. He sort of, to his benefit, comes in when Levesque out. You failed. You will get punished. We are going to make NXT 2.0 antithetical to anything you've ever held dear aesthetically.
Hilarious.
It was hilarious. It was absolutely
my 2021,
hilarious.
that. Sidge's AEW 2021, that was mine.
I mean, it was
There
just
we go.
a magic time in all of our lives. Von Wagner, by virtue of not being good or indie-pilled or indie-coded in any way, just gets a push in this Triple H version of NXT. And the thing is, he is not remotely prepared for it.
No.
And I don't think he ever is going to be. Because Von Wagner is like 6'7" or whatever he is. He's powerful. You can knock a tackling dummy down and you feel like it's an inanimate object, but you still feel for its guts, But Von Wagner, when he's on camera, his eyes shift from side to side. He's visibly nervous. He also can't really promote to save his life.
Such a gentleman,
Such a gentleman who's
Gentleman.
not got out for the business at all. Like a gentleman you just suspect, I always thought, and he was eventually released when it didn't work. And I just always thought, go and coach. You're a nice bloke with a lot of athletic acumen going on. I think you can mold. And I really liked Von Wagner, who's now I really like Von Wagner, and another thing that we liked is, obviously you can tell from the button that we pressed, he would have this thing of just saying things literally and not really knowing. He didn't have much self-awareness, did Von. Now, Von Wagner, is there any more Wagnerian way of re-entering the world of pro wrestling as... What? It's like we do this game of Wagner watch. Like, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna say? Yeah. And now it's like it's basically Where's Wagner? Like he's playing Where's Wally. It's like he's like in the background of AEW doing security.
Just ruins every page. I'm here.
So he's working AEW security, which would lead me to believe he's gonna get an ROH shot, or it's just like there's a tryout situation. It's weird.
Ring of Honor fan out of Wilbourn because Von Wagner.
Actually, I think. Can I shock you? Actually, I think I'm like Ring of Honor now.
So it's all just like maybe. I mean, I don't think he's a legit security guard for AEW.
No.
So he's been folded in for some reason.
Yep.
It's just funny that his first appearance is like before they were famous. He was on TV for like 2.5 years.
Virality won't hurt. That's getting shared around today. That will not, like, wrestling looks at numbers like everything else, doesn't it, now as a metric. It will not hurt that people picked up on that, and they were like, what, ironic or otherwise, there was a real joy that everybody felt in their heart when Von Wagner appeared. It's not going to hurt him at all.
It's not ironic for me. I earnestly was so happy for the dude. I just thought he seems like such a sweet individual.
Got his first win a couple of weeks ago.
The Mall, didn't he?
The Maplewood Mall in Minnesota.
Back in the game, man. Just seems like such a sweet guy. On that note, sweet guy Von Wagner, right? Who a lot of people had this ironic, but then because come Tuesday was so stiff, and it's good because like not everyone's competent really.
Yeah.
Or there's a weird, eerie emulation of being competent, you know? Von Wagner was hopeless, and I loved him. In terms of that side of the wrestling game, you know, hopeless. Like he couldn't promo on nothing. Physically, you know, he had something.
Yeah.
But then it was so hopeless that I went all the way around to being, I feel sorry for him and I want good things for him, right? Stay with me now. Von Wagner, whether he's trying to do it through the dark arts of the Ricky Morton or otherwise, Von Wagner is inordinately, massively, excessively sympathetic and people are just drawn to him. Why don't you therefore present him as MJF's heater? MJF would obviously go, that guy is a monster. He is a unit, ex-football player. He can truck people. He's not going to craft the match together. He's never going to be world champion. Good. He'll never have aspirations. I can have Von Wagner as my personal bodyguard, my heater. It's going wrong for me in a match. This lump.
Bobby Lashley's running from get him.
We'll sort MJF's business out. What if he messes up? Von Wagner getting berated by MJF. You would go, man, don't do that. He's too nice. He's got a brainwave.
Take that stupid scarf off. You're inside.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, then that baby's getting thrown in the air.
The business is back.
And the feeling's back. Von Wagner is going to restore the feeling. And if you want your characters and your stories, how about MJF versus Von Wagner at Double or Nothing 2026, bro? And LeGregor will be loving it, and he'll be doing cartwheels all over the busted open studio, and Bully Ray will be out of a job, and everyone's gonna go, Von Wagner. That's my fantasy booking storyline. That's just the kind of guy I am. Got butter in my ass and a lollipop in my mouth.
I just wanted him to present like Kyle O'Reilly with a bike.
Sorry, Kyle.
That's bad. That's inspired.
I know, it's not bad, is it?
It's good stuff.
It's good stuff. I love it. He finally found the characters and their stories.
That's just the amount of tweets I've got from last night. Jesus Christ, Von Wagner. So many people.
I love him.
Yep.
Towering over Powerhouse Hobbs.
Kick his ass.
There was a match, but I didn't really make any notes because I was watching this thinking, wait a second, Mark Davis and the Don Callis family, but he looks nothing like him.
There was an element with this match, wasn't it, of like when they sent bloody poor like Trish
Nicholas
Stratus.
put Von Wagner on the thumbnail, mate.
Yeah.
Trish, was it Trish Stratus, Lita, and Jazz that had to follow Rock and Hogan?
Yeah.
What are we going to do with this? Like, what? Who was it? Was it the AJ Lee Women's Invitation after the streak?
After the streak.
Very
It's
much
like,
this.
There's
Very
that
much
poor
this.
dog. That was basically the atmosphere for that match. That poor dog.
Except that one guy. You suck!
He suck.
They like no-sold suplexes and stuff. Hobbs hit a backdrop off a pile driver attempt. Some corner clotheslines. Hobbs went for his spine buster. Davis went for an insecurity. They both fell over. And then Davis ran into what a spine buster.
What a dick. What a dick.
Hobbs hit a spine buster and got the win, obviously.
I cannot begin. I didn't go up to this like doing cartwheels, so I can't sleep at night because I'm going to see Mark Davis versus Powerhouse Hobbs. You know, like I just
I can't sleep at night.
I just really expected a fun house fight here, like a bit of like you remember Hobbs versus Miro,
Yeah.
something in that vein.
Yeah.
This was so far away from my expectations, just not in terms of quality, but even like layout, structure, whatever. What the hell was this? Did Brody King, Kyle Fletcher run long or something?
Oh, yeah.
I
maybe.
don't know. This is like 3 minutes of a glaring botch, a finish, and some halfway decent no-sell spots that didn't really get you're meant to get that, oh yeah, the bloody Lovecraftian horrors back on his feet, and how is anyone going to get chopped down when they're just coming back up for more, you know? It didn't even approach that feeling of Keith Lee Dijak, you know? It didn't approach anything like that. The botch was awful looking. The finish was out of nowhere. Like, in terms of Powerhouse Hobbs and what people wanted the world title for this dude 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it wasn't necessary. It was just get it off Mox.
I know whenever he circles
else.
it, though, people buy in all over again.
Yeah. But my God, he can't have any more of these nights. In my opinion, the Big Bill blow-off, disappointing. Yeah. He's had a few decent showings on Collision. It's not been a great comeback for Powerhouse Hobbs in the ring. And I just hope people will, recall that when inevitably, if he slides down the card, it'll go, oh, Tony fumbled. Sometimes the wrestlers don't warrant the push, and that it needs to be normalized. Look, I think Powerhouse Hobbs, right, has got something. He clearly has something. Unbelievable backstory, which they haven't marketed or promoted. And I will say the book in this year, like, why is he goofing around with the Outrunners? Why is it a wacky, odd couple, like the serious guy with that really awful background against the meme wrestler, palling around with the meme wrestlers? Yeah. Terrible for the aura, not very good. So it seems increasingly like, for whatever reason, Tony Khan and Powerhouse Hobbs, even though they probably get along and Tony sees the world in them, a bad creative collaboration. And the point is,
that's a great take. That's making me think of like Jim Ross in the late 90s as the upside whisperer.
Yeah.
He would figure out the upside with a talent and then from nowhere.
Yeah.
I think you're spot on there. Yeah. There's just a disconnect between the two, what they
can
do for each other.
But you can be in a bad act and get over subsequently. Swerve Strickland had Trench. Yeah, that's right. And Parker Boudreaux quickly abandoned, then he got over. Hobbs QTV, no. Yes, there's been injuries. I'd know, man. If I'm booking AEW, feels like it's sacrilege because he's so, like, look at him.
Yeah.
Listen to him. You want the world for Hobbs, and then the bell rings a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe they were just in the referee's ear, so I cannot follow on, wrap it up early.
Yeah.
Right there. It was just the big moment.
He'd have figured out Timeless Tony Storm like that. He'd have been like, you used to be Timeless Tony Storm.
Now that you have asked, the time is 8:57.
You have spent 2 years with this company, actually. This is not your debut. How exactly do you ride death, John?
Storm, thunder, you are not weather, you are people.
Think of the fun we can have.
Oh, God.
I think change the plan. Sorry, Darby. Sorry, Will Ospreay. Von Wagner's to dethrone John Moxley for me.
I always say, I don't want to take the piss 'cause I do like him a lot, but you know, they always say there's always one person who can enter electrifying performance on any given night, given the strength of the roster, and they replace someone else in your heart, and then on we go, and there might never be the guy. You know, Von Wagner's here now. All Elite Wrestling, how can that be? Matt Hardy was contracted with the company from March 2020 until 2024. That's All Elite now, is it?
Von Wagner, company auditor. He just keeps it honest. It is literally impossible for everything to be great.
If that door is so forbidden, how many people are going to walk through it?
All in, how will we fit? World's End? Oh no. What about Christmas?
It's after Christmas, but it still works. Von Wagner would say what he saw.
I'll tell you what, that's what
He'd say what he saw, man. He's a good guy. I love him. Earnestly, I do.
Lexi Nair's backstage with the patriarchy minus Christian Cage. So that's Kip Sabian, Nick Wayne, and Nick Wayne's mom was going away.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Said things are finally making sense as to why Cage did what he did at Revolution. But he's going to address that when they next see each other face to face. Last week was how you properly execute a plan. And then he walks off. Little glance at Kip Sabian in there.
It's probably getting
That baby face and Christian Cage somehow.
Yeah, it's Cage where he needs to be, and if down the line with a thing I liked.
Oh yeah, we're almost at the Rated FTR sit-down interview. Before that, a very brief interview with Hangman Adam Page, because before they can even talk, Renee and Page, this is about Page entering the Owen Hart. Swerve flies in, saying, hey, you talking about you're going to get in my business with the AEW World title? Page said, bitch, did I stutter? And Prince Nana had to come in and pull Swerve off. Pull him away, sorry.
What's going on here?
Thrilling is what it is.
It's thrilling. What's the match? When's the match? What are the matches that we've got upcoming? Don't know. Want to know. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So exciting, this.
And then Tony Schiavone, sits down with Rated FTR and sort of says, basically next door neighbours. Cope is responsible for some of their
Woods.
biggest breaks in their careers. And Dax interrupts us.
Ever heard of a kid?
Says, our goal was always the AEW tag titles, but we've been helping.
I'm like cancelling Dreddle in those woods, I don't know. Is that anything?
For 4 months, we've been helping him, and he's failed twice. Cope was like, well, I didn't do anything to stop you going after the tag titles. They were putting bags over your heads. And then Dax said, all right, okay, we were kind of directionless. And Cash says, look, obviously everyone knows me and Dax are best mates, but Cope's done all this stuff for us. I was living in my car. He gave me a place to stay without, any problems, anything like that. And Dax is like, I took things too far last week. Look, we helped Cope go after his goals, but our goals, the tag titles. Goes to call out the Hurt Syndicate. Cash like, yeah, shut up. What about the trios titles? And Cope's like, yeah, that sounds good, actually. And they challenge the Death Riders for a trios titles match at AEW Dynasty. And Dax is like, that's right. Not quite as bad as Collision, if you remember. But you remember there was one on Collision where they went, top guys out. Saturday. Across it, but he goes, top guys out.
Sloppy jalopy editing.
And Cope says, actually, Rated FTR out. Dax like, yeah.
I've got one. I was shocked by how much I like this, given the principles involved. Like, I love Cash Wheeler, but Cope kind of gives me the yick. And Dax Harwood.
Cope? Just realised our boy's going to have to meet with Cope at some point.
Yeah. And
Dax
Harwood is his own worst enemy. So.
Yes.
But this was done quite well, I thought. And more than the performances, which were quite well done. One critique on that, actually. I would have had them both try and say it at the same time.
Yes, better.
I would have had them, like, Dax go, top guys out, Rated FTR out, and then look at each other like, Rated FTR out. Because that would be like an actual misunderstanding where they're really not on the same page. The way they did it, it was they're taking turns to be arseholes. And because they're taking turns to be arseholes, you're thinking, well, who's the eventual babyface?
Yes.
Clearly, it's probably going to be Cope and Christian because FTR have ran out of road as babyfaces, and the nostalgia effect will just work on people. So that's where it's going. I don't think they did a good enough job really here of babyfacing Edge, Cope, but you sense they'll get there. More than the individual performances, while they were good, if a little bit flawed, and it's going to take a lot from these three in particular to get me interested. I thought this shone such a cool light on the booking and the idea that, hang on, everything's connecting to itself and everything seems to matter. Because you've got FTR, who just cannot really get in the hunt. They're getting beat off Undisputed Kingdom. You know, they can't get back in the hunt. They want to be in the hunt. And they've been talking throughout about getting back in the hunt. Cope's failed on his hunt. And hang on, there is a compromise that can be reached between our characters who are at loggerheads because there's a title that we can all go for together. This little sit down made decent use of AEW's world and continuity.
This is why I was talking about the trios on the preview yesterday. I honestly believe we're seeing the death of the zones at long last. You can start to fantasy book wrestlers outside of what they've seemingly been locked into for the longest time. And that's,
they have been around with the Death Riders for like 5 months.
But the trios belts, when we talk, when I brought it up, you were like, that wasn't even consideration, was it? It was
confined to a zone.
Yeah, and now it's like it exists for a wider purpose, and it exists for the FTR Cope and Christian match whenever that's going to occur. You know, you see in the next few things along the way. This was I'd slightly disagree actually. I'd push back a little bit on how effective this was as establishing Cope as a babyface when all this is said and done. Because putting him up when he was on the bones of his ace is like a nice thing to do, you know, like the veteran kind of opening his home to this guy that needed him. And the fact that he still gets, whether we like it or not.
I think it's just Cope for me. Maybe I'm biased.
He still gets these reactions in these buildings as if he is, you know, like the biggest babyface.
Then the bell rings.
Yeah, God, I'm not caping for Cope. But it's just, I think that's not going to be an issue, I guess, when the turn happens. They're doing with Cash, sort of perfectly pitched right now, at least, as not wanting to rather keeping them together than worrying about having to pick a side, because he will pick a side. I do like Cope. I'm going to use the example of one of our collected all-time favourite storylines, Sidge, and this is nowhere near as good as that. But Brett, in Owen Hart season, no less, dropping down into the tag division to do right by his brother. You know, he's had his time. He's going to help me now in the tag division. And look how that ended up. And you know, they're Brettsman, I believe.
Really?
I think it's come up. Yeah, when the turn occurs on Cope, the figure that has done the nice thing to decide to drop in at the trios to help sort them out, you know, all that. I think it might go well. I really think it might go well. And if it goes nicely in line with the Christian Cage babyface turn, that's a big ass tag team match. Yeah. That's the real stuff. FTR will imagine how much fun they're gonna have putting this together.
Yeah.
It's your worst nightmare in a way. Dax and Cope. But
Christian Cage's craft and the FTR's ability to build a match is incredible. I'm not even looking that far ahead. Pac is a singles guy, can sometimes be a little bit laboured. Him and Cash Wheeler in the context of a trios match is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this match at Dynasty.
Following that, we hear, whose house? Well, that depends which person's house you're talking about, actually. And be careful, if you swerve when you drive, you may get a ticket. It's Swerve Strickland.
Or you could kill somebody.
He makes sense with every character.
You see?
Von Wagner is the confirmed death of the zones.
He's the tree.
He's the tree. I am not a tree. I am a man.
Anyway.
We might lose the AEW guys there. I don't know.
Swerve saying...
That's on the comments, I guess.
He's not here to call out the Death Riders, just John Moxley.
And then you
which I most certainly read.
Mox swaggers out through the crowds. Nana leaves to just leave Swerve and Mox in the ring. And Swerve says, he's been allowing this to go on for far too long. What happened to you, Mox? You used to be revered, respected. You went hand in hand with the AEW World title. Now you hide behind Claudio, Pat Guta, Marina Shafir. You got the nerve to say no one wants to be world champion. You don't have to be the nerve to be the champion himself. That's why you hide behind the world title and don't even show it off. You got it in a briefcase, prick. Yeah, you can't start to look yourself in the mirror.
Delirious, this guy.
You can't start to look at yourself in the mirror anymore. He asks Mox how his back's doing. And then he said, everything you used to describe yourself as, he's basically looking at you right now. Claudio is snuck in at this point. He sneaks up behind Nana and Swerve. But Swerve is aware of this, and Moxley calls off Claudio's attack. Mox says, this isn't about me at Dynasty. It's about you, who you are, and what you are really. I know what you could be. I had high hopes for you, but it's all going to go wrong for you basically on April 6th. How far are you willing to go when you're in pain and tired and the world is bearing down on your shoulders? Everyone's gunning for you. Would you endure, or would you look for a way out and take others with you? He says, you haven't suffered enough yet, Swerve, but you will at Dynasty. This sport's been taken over by billionaires, Hollywood talent agencies, and kids who see the world through a filter. But guys like you still give me hope for the future, making me believe that what I put my body through was for a reason. I'm going to make you work for it. He's not about handouts, says Moxley. But they're willing to go at it right now. Moxley said it shouldn't be a problem as Swerve is the most dangerous man in AEW. But it looks like, speaking of stars of NXT, Maria Shafir is going to slide in with Crowbar.
Yeah, out of your mind, Crowbar. Listen to NXT wherever you get your podcasts.
I mean, that's Brick. We all know Brick.
You all know Brick. Everyone
voice.
knows Brick.
Yeah.
Listen to NXT if this is making no sense to you.
But Willow Nightingale's there. She's got a pipe. Wasn't no use that. Nothing. Does anything beat Crow?
Ass.
Ass beats.
Ass.
I thought ass beat Brick.
Ass beat. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Ass beat Brick. Yeah.
Yeah. Crowbar beats ass.
So Brick must beat Crowbar then.
It goes all
to
the way
make
back around, yeah.
Okay. So she should have had a Brick. But instead she had a...
Lazy, if anything.
Everyone knows that.
Continuity. Come on, guys.
Should have had a pipe. She had a pipe. But Swerve says, finally facing someone smarter than you are. You bled pints. I bled buckets. You cannot bleed buckets.
Shut the up. This is actually quite good from Swerve, so I want to talk about
sorry.
it.
You fought in Texas Death
This
matches.
is not turning into SmackDown.
I won them.
wish.
I will continue to lead the Dynasty era, and you continue playing John Moxley on television.
Oh, yeah. What a line that was. Because, quite frankly, this is trending towards... I don't want to see this match even. John Moxley's John Moxley.
Just goes out there and talks a little
He does.
That's what he does.
That's what he does. It's what he does. That's what he does. I just... The thread of everything has just been lost and everything unspooled, probably around the time that, I don't know, a guy who was interested in safeguarding the future of AEW by any means necessary decided to mount a crime spree, the victim of which was Robert Gibson. You know, that's how I don't know what we're doing here. That's how the plot was lost. So when he keeps talking about Swerve...
It's another live show. You kept saying he was dressed as a
Cat
cat burglar.
burglar.
He popped me every time.
Cat burglar, John Moxley. So when he says, high hopes for you, it's back to that then, are we all back to the hopes of AEW's future? It's just so all over the place.
Yeah.
So Swerve, he sometimes gets an attack of the stumbly bumblies. Sometimes he will he's not the most smooth promo. He will stumble over his words a little bit, and it's never good. But when you're the emerging, avenging savior of a promotion or a top guy, it's always don't you do it. But then he has this phenomenal habit of when that inflection rises and he gets that bass in his voice, and he's saving himself up for those awesome sound bites, which he's amazing at writing, by the way. He will feel like the guy eventually.
Yeah.
I suppose that's quite Swerve, isn't it? Generally. You keep playing John Moxley on TV was that's what... It's always thrilling. And speaking of... It's ironic because Moxley did this once upon a time. It's always thrilling when a wrestler articulates in a really cool way what the fandom is thinking. And that's top guy stuff, and that's Swerve. His closing remarks, if you like, were enough to make me think, I want to see this match. And since this promo battle was designed to make me want to see the match, I would say they just about got there as a success.
Between this and the segment earlier in the show, I'm becoming more convinced in my own idea for a finish that doesn't leave everybody on Twitter absolutely fuming that Swerve hasn't won the title. I think they're going to allow...
Wrong, kid. You're afraid of a little something called heat.
I think they're going to allow you to infer, even if it's with a bunch of bodies in between and them screaming at each other, that what Hangman Page might actually be after doing is giving Swerve what he needs to hear in order to beat John Moxley, because Hangman Page is excellent at beating John Moxley and beating him like almost nobody else has done before, getting that submission, beating him definitively. And then he hits the buckshot and Moxley moves out of the way and he hits Swerve and he costs him and it relights something between the two of them who both enter the Owen.
There's loads of options here.
Yeah. I could see that finish would be so exhilarating because of what it presents going forward for Swerve and Hangman. And like Mox, there's no more skinnier teeth than that for Moxley at this point. It's like, then you're done. The next time you are done.
Yeah.
And the winner of the Owen, which probably will be Will Ospreay, is like, and here's the next time, and you are done. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like these things are locking together now for this reason. It's good stuff.
I also like the bit where at the end where Mox like is called off his hired guns and whatever. Maurice feels like, no, I'm going to go attack Willow Nightingale quickly, and then they get into it. I like that.
Cool last match for next week.
That is cool.
That's a cool match next week.
Tornado as well, so there's lots of scope for weaponry, which might say, you know what, just step up Mox Swerve. Why not?
I was not aware of the weather conditions in next week's Dynamite. Kazuhiro
I've
Shibata.
changed my mind. Worst thing that ever happened.
Speaking of having your brain scoped out,
He's filming Joe and
happens to
Hook.
Von Wagner in real life.
Yeah.
We learned that in NXT.
And he's trivializing it, even though.
Joe and Hook are walking backstage. He held on to Red Rum a little bit too long on Max Caster on Collision. And Hook says
I've
he's
been
fun
ignorant. It's got 3 messages at once. Just making sure there's no big panic.
he's fun to joke out. They do that as he's chatting to Top Flight and AR Fox, who I'm a big fan of, actually, AR Fox. I wasn't aware of his talents until Adrian. They choked Max Caster.
Tell me something, Sidge. As a man that sat across from me, very quickly, stubbornly losing a battle in 2019, am I just being a miserable bastard because I don't like the Ops? Is this like, an old best friends me thing? This is not charming to me.
It's not charming to me neither. It's what
they're going for, isn't it?
Me and Hamflett have got a shared, what's that take? You know that thing? Is it Hercules or whatever? What take they'll have you like this? And it's all the swords going up to that.
Oh, it's not. It's, yes.
You know the meme I mean?
Yeah.
The peak of Joe is unbelievable. The peak of Samoa Joe is unbelievable. But mediocre or disappointing way longer than he was ever great. And we didn't really, and we said this at the time, thought some of his promos on that fabled world title run that I didn't think was very good were a little bit theatrical. Joe's tough guy thing lacks a little bit of credibility for me. A little bit. And I know that's ridiculous. I've seen the Necro Butcher match. I've seen the Cage of Death.
I've seen him live. He's incredible.
I've seen him live. He's awesome. As I said, peak Joe is absolutely outstanding. There's an element of artifice to the Ops. It's not like the coolest, baddest gang of motherfuckers that you've ever laid eyes on, and like Hook's going to be one of them one day. I don't know. It just feels like cosplay tough guys played by actual tough guys.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
It is so weird that I don't love it, but I don't know if it's a presentation thing or what. I just don't like it very much. I don't find it charming. I just don't find the charm. I don't get the appeal of the Ops.
Tangled, the film we were looking for. Flynn Entangled, apparently. Switchblade Jay White officially enters the Owen Hart tournament and declares an open challenge for Collision on Saturday. And then we got Top Flight.
Every time he turns up, I'm like, oh yeah, you're here. What is it with Jay White?
Yeah.
What is it with Jay White?
Top Flight won a match.
Sexiest man alive, some might say.
Top Flight won a match whilst the crew were sat there watching on our boys Leo Rush and Action Andretti Sidge. And Big Bill and Brian Keith are watching backstage.
Yeah, it's just the one thing good about Collision, I guess.
Anything you want to say about Top Flight's squash? I figure not. Yeah, Darius hit a big old frog splash for the 1, 2, 3, and then there's a video.
Obligatory.
Yeah, a video package for Will Ospreay saying it's time for him to lead AEW into a new generation.
I do like Jay White. It's just he's a luxury player, isn't he?
Yeah.
Luxury player.
Ospreay's back next week. And then we got Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe.
I was going to say, remind me next week. What's Ospreay doing at Dynasty? You can't not have an Ospreay match on an AEW pay-per-view. He's simply too good at big matches. Maybe we can discuss that on the preview.
Yeah.
I was thinking that this morning. What's Ospreay doing?
Maybe that'll reveal itself next week. Maybe it's
That's what we're going to predict him. We've probably got a game we can play.
Yeah.
instant match out of the ace booking, but it's Ospreay, so it's like, oh, great.
Yeah. Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe. Briscoe early on hit a thrust chop in the corner and a rolling Death Valley driver. Went up top, but Takeshita cut him off and hit him a massive superplex for 2. He also spiked Briscoe with a DDT to take us to a break. When we come back, Briscoe fights back, runs the barricade. It's a diving elbow. Goes back inside looking for a froggy bow.
I don't want to gloss over that. That barricade spot looked awesome.
He's done that. He did it on Collision, did he?
It just looked great.
Looks great.
It just looked great.
He misses the froggy bow. Takeshita hits a release German that looks insane, but Briscoe no-sells it and hits Takeshita with a big lariat, turns him inside out for a 2 count. Callis leaves commentary to cheer his boy on. Briscoe wanted a J driller, but Takeshita spun out. There's a 4-arm battle. They both go big. They trade exploders. And then Takeshita hits a charging knee for 2 of his own. Missed a home run lariat. Briscoe hit the J driller, but Takeshita just gets his foot on the ropes. Briscoe wanted a cutthroat driver, but Takeshita gets out of that, hit the rolling elbow and the raging fire for the 1-2-3.
Prediction, I'm going to put this over heartily and I'm going to turn to Hamflett and he's going to say, yeah, it was fine.
That's not a prediction. That, sir, is a spoiler.
I will say, right, and I think this is one of the reasons why I was so impressed with this match. Not like one of the great matches in Dynamite history or anything, but just I think I needed it to inform my opinion of the show being broadly positive, because when this was announced in that spate of a good match Dynamite card, you know, maybe cynically so, I was... it'll be really good. It will be really good. Don't get in the mood. But then Brody King Fletcher was a bit long. Davis Hobbs was just a nothing match or a disaster, depending on how nice you want to be about it. So I wasn't thinking this is going to blow me away. And while it didn't, there was just that little spark of that flurry at the end. The thing that sparked the flurry of, it was just at Mark Briscoe's absolutely mint.
Yeah.
And it almost depresses us, the finish, because this is his lot for the next 2 years, innit? And he'll get us every time because he's Mark Briscoe. Like, the when to do things is the art of pro wrestling. It's the when, it's always the when. When Mark Briscoe took that German, I had the same visceral reaction as you did. And I don't know if he's done this on purpose. He's a madman. It wouldn't shock me. He's, like, landed on his, like, elbow, shoulder at the same time. The ugliest landing possible from a German. The likes of which Takeshita has mastered. Yeah. Literally, it was his thesis. And Mark Briscoe's taken a move like that a million times. He has chosen the most nasty bump imaginable to then do his fire-up spot. And I was just like, as soon as it went, that 180 from, oh, God, has he broken his shoulder too? Oh, no, he's back and he's kicking ass. Mark Briscoe's too good for this role.
Yeah.
And this...
He could have fought Mox at some point in this run.
Should have. And then they had him with a nunchuck. Yeah. Next to Billy John Silver outside of that arena. Remember that? Bloody hell. AEW has improved exponentially, actually. And then I just got really into this match. And then, like, you know something's good. He's dead inside.
Fed inside. Come on.
Yeah. Those forearms / elbows that Takeshita throws at people. It's like, how is he not decapitating them? How have they not got dislocated jaws? What a worker. And what a worker Mark Briscoe is. And this didn't even reach approach the ceiling of what they can do together, but a blast of a TV match that Hamflett's just going to take it down.
Now, I just didn't like the actual match itself that much.
You like that Takeshita wanted to keep him in the mix?
Yep, liked him getting featured. Sometimes fair is better. And like they feature guys, and this was that. Briscoe, I couldn't echo more your sentiments on Mark Briscoe because everyone's echoing them, right?
Yeah.
Like they've sort of blown it, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Because you never get that again. Some people can rise back up, and Mark Briscoe can kind of do that sort of stuff overnight, but there was definitely a time to just be like, maybe go with him, you know?
Yeah.
And that feels lost now.
We go backstage to the Death Riders. Hewitt said he already hates FTR's guts. Cope tried to rip him from his family, but his family's much stronger than Cope's. Castagnoli says when the going gets tough, you start throwing hissy fits, and Pac says it's your arrogance that they find so hard to stomach. You don't get to challenge us. We challenge you, basically. So it is set for Dynasty, rated FTR versus Death Riders for the trios titles. Following that, the Hurt Syndicate's walking backstage when they're approached by Alicia. Whatever her second name is, let us know in the comments.
It's Alicia too. He's just setting up a joke.
No. Stuff from the top.
I think you should just it's respectful to call her by a name.
Yeah, it's probably a good point. Yeah, actually. Is MJF in or out? MVP Flappy has to step aside.
He thought about his cock.
Lashley says, why do you invite MJF into our group?
Nothing gets past him.
Under that.
Apart from when we do the bit that we don't
That's
do
what
bits.
actually,
but everything gets past him, that would be the joke.
Yeah. Surprisingly large amount does, but you're there to clean up from.
Lashley says MJF's a wrong one, basically, and MVP's like, that's kind of the point why we need him in here. We're fascinated, as we said, about this story.
MJF and Lashley. I can't wait to see them interact again.
Sorry, just check my notes. It appears for the second week in a row, we have a women's match in the main event.
Indeed we do. Toni Storm is so over, it's ridiculous.
The only women's match on this card, but it was the main event, so give them credit for that. Like you say, timeless Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa, Thunder Tits, as the sign said in the crowd, versus Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne, who, didn't budge early on from some Thunder Rosa shoulder blocks. She hit a spinning body slam. Rosa comes back, though, once they tag in Penelope Ford. She springs off, storms back for a shotgun drop onto Penelope to take us to a break. When we come back, it's Penelope and Thunder going back and forth as a double clothesline. And finally, we get Storm and Megan Bayne coming in and going at it, but Bayne just no-sells all the clotheslines. Storm clotheslines her to the floor, but she lands on her feet and pulls Toni Storm out with her. She sends her into the steps. Storm hit a tornado DDT, but when she goes back into the ring, Ford hits her with a Matrix cutter. Rosa comes back in to hit a Death Valley driver on Ford. Bayne takes out Rosa with the Fates descent. But Storm comes back in and fights her off. She does a leg sweep in the corner. Sweet cheap music. Has no effect on Megan Bayne whatsoever.
Oh my God.
Toni Storm can't believe it. Ford even gets a waist lock around her. But Storm moves and Bayne just pump kicks her and doesn't care. Storm charges at Megan Bayne, but just gets nailed with the face descent. And Megan Bayne pins the world champion. Clean 1, 2, 3. And everyone's like, what the hell just happened to close out this show?
This match did exactly what it needed to do, and it reached that note that it needed to strike precisely once for me. I thought it was pretty boring. Look, the idea was you were meant to anticipate that interaction between Megan Bayne and Toni Storm. The issue for me is that they've each individually got merit, but together, Thunder Rosa versus Penelope Ford isn't that great a match. It really isn't. And then the match, their exchanges in this match were just broadly okay, I guess. So I'm like, it doesn't feel like a main event. Let's get to the point already with the interaction. Interaction was great. What was like, you have to, when AEW relies on it quite often, that no-sell spot, it has to be good when it can look so lame when it isn't. This worked so well for me because that Sweet Cheeks music, or whatever she calls it now, the hip attack, it looks gnarly as all hell. It looks like Whiplash, Concussion, Serty Jones. It looks awesome. But then Brian Alvarez has been sort of like moralizing over, you can't do that move safely. It's got like an aura almost, that. So for her to take it and then go, no effect on me at all. That move was so inspired to do Christ, she's going to be Toni Storm at the pay-per-view. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Even indirectly, something like the New Beginning in 2012 was amazing, you know? You just don't know all bets might be on. But that's all I got out of it. But that's all I needed. Ultimately, I'll remember that going into the pape.
Keep doing the good things and more good things will happen. Like this, I don't think Megan Bayne will win, but I think what this tells you that not only will they get behind somebody that they believe in Megan Bayne for right now, that she should feel encouraged and empowered by this to do whatever next they've got for her with all this same gusto, and then it might come around again. Meanwhile, the rest of the roster are being told, main events will come your way, pushes can come your way. You've got a couple of different champions that want to give you the best possible match they can, and we as a company are trying to facilitate that as well. Like, I was kind of with Sidge on the match, if I'm honest, but I was so overwhelmed by the positives elsewhere that I almost didn't care. Do this, do loads of it, and like all the quality will come. Like, the rising tide really will raise all the ships. You've just got to really keep doing it.
It's 1:05, and I haven't even done my ladies' night spiel.
Didn't even realise it was that late. Such a good time, this. Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Ladies' night. Is you going to keep it quite brief here?
I'll do what I want.
It was at least in the main event, Sidge.
Yeah, we're still playing it. So basically, this is the only women's match on Dynamite.
Yep.
So we have a game to play and a winner to announce. And the aim of the game, before we get to the name of the game, is to identify to the hour, minute, and second the first time you hear the first note for the first theme for the first woman to come out and compete for the only women's match on Dynamite, with the idea being that it usually falls in that 1 hour 20, 1 hour 25 minute range. The idea behind that being AEW/Warner things. Hang on, if we can just put them before the main event, then the people who stick around will want to watch the Bloody Birds, even though, ironically, you know, we actually want to watch the Bloody Birds because they're so much more interesting and they deserve the push more than a lot of the men. You're thinking, that's a mouthful. Before you do the bold _ italicized thing, which is what would be cool if we can nail, can you just jinglize the cynical thought process that you believe AEW cum Warner has of this fan base, the sunk cost fallacy, if you will. Okay, I sure can. Don't worry, guys. When the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away. That's the aim of the game. And the name of the game is, well, this is lady's name. I'm thinking, what a name.
Dex is always do the panda blow himself. Adam Blair at Adam Wilson 4. And Jose Palomar is at the Ho 11. The guys who always take care of DM. Thank you for these sorts of things. Sidge, what were our guesses on the Dynamite preview yesterday?
In descending order.
Which was it?
I genuinely, I'm never going to learn. Never going to learn, and I don't give a damn. Michael Sidgwick, 1 hour, 18 minutes, 11 seconds. Michael Hamflett, gridlocked, 1 hour, 20, flat at his head. Adam Wilbourn.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get in. They tried to hold me down, but it's a win for me.
You're joking. Not another one?
Take me to 5 for the year, 2 for Hamflett. 0 so far for Michael Sidgwick, but still lots to play for.
Be April next week, bro.
But do let us know your thoughts on everything on AEW Dynamite, including Ladies' Night, in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You can follow us all on X, of course. You can follow us at WhatCulture WWE. You can follow Michael Alpha at
Michael,
I'm still suffering from tour. You can follow Michael Sidgwick at
Yeah, me too, bro. At M. Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from, for daily wrestling podcasts. But for now, this has been the Dynamite Review. My thanks to Hamflett and Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you soon. I'm dying over